Catherine Regehr's collections sell around the world: New York, Paris, the Middle East, Asia, and of course Vancouver. She works with designers like Christian Dior and Calvin Klein. Sells in stores like Saks, Bergdorf, Barney's, Neiman's, and the Room at the Bay. Her designs marry simple shapes with repeating textures to create a look that is uniquely hers. She loves Paris and New York, but her inspiration comes from the extreme opposite, Canada's northern wilderness, where she was raised. She built a house on Atlin Lake in BC's far north, where she goes whenever she can. But she doesn't just relax by the lake, as appealing as that may sound. She travels to the outer edges on hiking and canoe expeditions.
I mean, I've been charged by grizzly bear 3 times.
Hence the rifle, always at the ready on canoe trips. But that in no way diminishes the joy she feels just being there.
There's nowhere else where I can go and stand on a mountainside or whatever and look for 100 miles in every direction. You know, nobody's there. There's something about that that's very important to me. Something about that feeling of space. I mean, maybe I was an eagle in my previous life. I don't know. I get that sustains me. That space, that silence, the sound of the wind.
It also sparks her imagination.
I get some of my best ideas sitting on the side of a riverbank before I put the canoe in the water.
Catherine Regehr's home and fashion collections reflect the northern landscape, and they seem right at home photographed in the wild, wrapped in raw nature. These shoots are a family affair. Her daughters act as models and double as crew on the photo expeditions. Key concepts in her designs are simplicity and timelessness.
I always try to simplify. I don't like a lot of clutter in my wardrobe. What can I design that people will want for a long, long time?
For her signature pieces, she transforms simple wearable shapes with textures.
So that it'll be a very simple dress, a jewel neck dress that you might see, but I will transport it into my thing by putting this wonderful kind of texture at the hem with a seam so they can shorten it because I'm pragmatic. But when the person walks in this shape moves. It has a beautiful movement, and that is not out there. That's my thing.
The timeless note comes with her retro couture designs.
I certainly started with this idea of this old sort of Christian Dior era couture. I still do very well with some of my very classic retro couture shapes, such as I have a shawl collar dress and a shawl collar gown that I've designed for many years.
Women who bought her shawl collars 15 years ago are still wearing them, and she's selling more than ever.
The best stuff is the stuff that really surpasses the moment and something that you can have forever.
Like most artists, she has no idea where the great designs come from. It's mostly a lot of work, and sometimes it's like magic.
You know, when I first start to work on a collection, perhaps the first fitting, the first day, I will drape something, and I drape a lot, my pieces. That's just amazing, and it's like a perfect design, or I think it is, you know, and and every once in a while they are. I certainly have learned, though, I can do all the drawing and all these little sketches, and they don't mean anything until you actually drape it and create it.
She produces her own collections and relies on her longtime team of artisans to maintain the integrity of her designs. Donna, pattern maker and second set of eyes. Fong, her cutter. Vanessa and May, chief sewers. George, who takes the trunk shows on the road and knows what people want. And Greg, who makes sure it all gets done.
These are people who can sew fine fabric, who can drape fine fabric, and who can cut fine fabric. I mean, they're very, very hard to find.
She's responsive to the market. She has to make allowances for different body types and needs.
Most of the women who have the money, you know, may need sleeves, so I have to design things with sleeves. Not all of them, but I couldn't have a collection with no sleeves.
Yet she also creates for distinctly different customers in other parts of the world. The Middle Eastern royal family that orders hundreds of her bejeweled kaftans, or the young, dramatic fashionistas of Singapore.
They're very young and they're very hip, and they want that retro couture. This is a lot of fun, and these women are tiny and beautiful and wealthy, so they can afford the pieces.